Hey everyone, got one more video here for you. Chapter 6, Be the Filter. I've already been very open, honest, and transparent about my body language and sometimes inability to do so. And this is a real challenging law for me. Law and principle. Not in a sense where I mean not to be the filter, I'm just not a very good filter. And I share a lot of stories, and maybe sometimes I definitely share too much. And I want to give a shout out to my partner Jeff Gorski, who really made me realize how I'm not the filter that I need to be. So what does a filter look like? I can tell you what the filter doesn't look like compared to more what it should look like. But in an organization, everybody needs to know that even if the sky is falling, we're going to be okay. It's important to have transparency and vulnerability and clarity with your team, but there's definitely a level of what they should know, right? And there's a level of what you should share. And especially as a leader, you have to give up the right to complain down, right? You should never ever be talking about other teachers in front of your better teachers or who you think are better teachers, because every message that you share, you lose a little bit of more credibility with them. Right? So in one way, that's a negative filter when you are maybe trying to make that buddy comment, but in terms you're actually making yourself look worse, right? Because if that leader teacher starts to think, well, what do they say about me behind my back? Or if you're talking bad about a classroom. So Jeff has really done a great job of helping me be a better filter in terms of as I'm sharing stories in organizations, never going to a point where I share the actual school, but I share enough that someone could figure it out. Right? So that too, our own organizations, the ones that partner with us, may not trust us, right? Based upon the stories that I share or the openness or the transparency that I may have. So how are leaders good filters? Okay, number one, right? Don't complain down. You don't have the right to complain down. And as your responsibilities increase as a leader, your rights go down, right? So responsibilities increase, your rights decrease. Okay, so if they were equal before you were a principal on some other level, responsibilities go up, your rights go down. Okay? That's one issue you have to be understanding. How am I the filter? Number two, one area that I'm not very strong, be the filter, body language and face bias. Think about those very stoic leaders, the individuals that were so calm, right? So calm in any situation, compared to the leaders who, get at a high level very fast. Which one are you more likely to follow? Right? The leader that is stoic in terms of how they address certain problems, how they address maybe a negative comment coming their way, right? They're never on the attack mode, they're in listen mode. My old supervisor was very good at this, Mark Kramer. I used to say all the time, it was like, sir, and he was a captain in the Marines, and I used to say to him, I was like, how are you so calm right now? And he's like, oh, I'm dying on the inside. But he was so good at showing on the outside his calmness, and that always made me feel really good when I knew that, hey, even though this crazy situation just happened, he really had this calm, demeanor about him, and would never let us pass judgment, right? Because this quote that I just heard here at the John Maxwell conference, it's like never mock individuals or individuals who are suffering pain that you have never endured, and it's so easy for us to do, right? We're human beings and we're never perfect. And so you as the leader have to understand how to be the filter. So be the filter with bad news and sometimes be the filter with good news. Because I always learned when I was a baseball coach, you never want to get too high, you never want to get too low. but you always wanted to act like you've been there before. So I hope this was helpful to you. This is a really important chapter and growth opportunity for you, learning how to be the filter. Make sure you use your accountability partner to let you know when at times you're not being filtered.